Oh, well, my specialty ended up being internal medicine, but that's a whole other story.
Okay.
But let me just finish this up. So,
Yes.
I got into medical school, and, well, first off, let me just say this. I prayed before I applied to medical school. I said, Lord, don't let me get into medical school if I'm not going to graduate.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got in, that took a load off of me because I knew I prayed, and he answered my prayer, and I knew I would graduate. Now the question became how. So I'd done that summer program, but that whole first semester of my freshman year in med school, seemingly every test, I was 1 to 2 points just passing.
Wow.
So I wasn't killing it by any means necessary. I mean, I was the last man on the totem pole probably every time on every test. And at the end of my first semester, I passed 3 of my courses, but I failed 1 of my courses by less than a half a point. So I ended up having to remediate that course during the summer. But after the Christmas break, when I came back from the Christmas break, I realized, number one, I couldn't continue to do the same work that I've been doing or working the same way. I had to change my study habits. And so I started reaching out to other colleagues that didn't look like me. For the most part, I studied with one of my frat brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked well, but it didn't work well enough. So I said, well, let me branch out and start seeing if I can study with some other people. And so I started studying with some other people that didn't look like me, and I started to start finding ways in which they studied that reminded me of the study programs my father had put me in back in the day. And then I started reutilizing those study techniques, and all of a sudden I started to thrive. And so I had to make an adjustment and go back to a study technique that really helped me when I was younger, and it turned out to be the elixir that I needed for in medical school. And then from that point on, in my second year, I moved into a house with all medical students, well, 6, 7 other medical students. And each night we would study at about 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night, and we'd come out to the common area of this house and have this massive quiz bowl. But the whole point of the quiz bowl was for me to take the most esoteric fact that I knew and try to stump them, and for them to take the most esoteric fact that they knew and try to stump me. Now here's the key, Dr. Dunbar. The key was, if I stumped them, I had to teach them.
Oh, wow.
And if they stumped me, they had to teach me. The effect of that was, by the time we got to exams, we had asked so many questions of each other from so many different perspectives. There weren't too many questions on the exam we had not already discussed.
Wow.
And so, like a rising tide, we all did very well.
Okay.
And so what that speaks to is how you work in medical school to get the volume. It's not aptitude that impedes people's progress in medical school. It's dealing with the volume. It's kind of like trying to eat an elephant. If you got one person trying to eat an elephant, it takes a long time to do it. But if you got 7 or 8 people eating the elephant, and each person describes what they're biting and how it tastes and the texture of it, you get to know the whole elephant, but you didn't eat but just a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense to you, sir?
Yes. Yes.
And so that's one of the most valuable lessons that I learned about how to approach large volumes of work. If you approach it from you first being responsible and taking care of your own individual preparation, and then coming together and work with other people that have put in their own individual preparation, you can work very effectively as a group.
Mm-hmm.
But it first starts with individual preparation.
Okay. Okay. So there's a individual preparation component, and there's kind of a teamwork component there.
That's correct.
Okay.
So it's like the individual preparation gets you to 50%.
Yep.
But that team component gets you to 90%.
Yes. Yeah, that makes sense. When I first got to grad school, I was used to working by myself, and I couldn't do that and get the grades that I needed.